Hello students, we completed our first section, that is algae. Today we are moving to the next portion of our chapter 3 plant kingdom, that is bryophytes. What are bryophytes? Bryophytes are called amphibians of plant kingdom. Amphibians of plant kingdom. Why we are calling bryophytes as amphibians of plant kingdom means because they can live both in soil as well as water. Okay, in more precise we can say they are living in the soil and they require water for their sexual reproduction. Okay, so water is essential for their reproduction. We will see how water is essential in the reproduction in the last part. Then, what are the habitats? They can occur in damp, humid and shaded localities. Okay, look the pictures. Different localities are seen. It can be seen on the damp, humid and shaded localities. Okay, so a moist or shaded region is required for the well establishment of bryophytes. Then we look the plant body. The plant body is more differentiated than the algae. Comparatively, more differentiated form of plant body is seen in bryophytes. Okay, bryophytes also some lower groups and higher groups are there. In lower group, which is similar to algae, but the higher group of bryophyte which is more differentiated. The plant body is more differentiated than the algae, and it is also a thallus-like or prostrate erect plant body. Look, this is a prostrate or erect plant body. Thallus or thallus plant body is there. This is a erect plant body, as well as prostrate plant body is there. Okay, and the plant body is attached to the substratum with the help of unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. You can see the rhizoids here. Unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. Okay, there is no true roots, stem or leaf. So instead of roots, rhizoids are there, and these in this picture they are mentioned as leaf. Actually they are not leaf, they are scale leafy like structure. Scaly leafy like structure, and these stem portion are called setae, and this is the capsule. Inside the capsule where spores are produced. So this is the picture of Funaria. Funaria is a higher class of bryophytes. So it is more look like a plant, isn't it? Somewhat it is look like a plant. Then they lack true roots, stem or leaves. Then they may possess root-like, leaf-like or stem-like structures. Here the rhizoids are root-like structure. Then these scaly leaves are leaf-like structure, and the setae are stem-like structure. The main plant body is haploid in condition. So the main plant body is haploid condition. Haploid condition means half the number of chromosome, that is n number of chromosome. So the main plant body produces gametes, so that main plant body is called gametophyte. Gametophyte means gametes producing plant body. The main plant body is haploid in nature and it produces gametes, so that we will call that plant body as gametophyte, that is gamete producing plant body. Then come to the sexual part. The sex organs in bryophytes are multicellular. Okay, so the sex organs are multicellular. The male sex organ are called antheridium. Male sex organ are called antheridium, and it produces biflagellated male sperms are called anthrozoids. Male sex organ are called antheridium, and it produces biflagellated male sperms are called anthrozoids. Then come to female. The female sex organs are called Archegonium, and it is flask shaped structure, and it produces a single egg. So male sex organ are called antheridium, female sex organ are called Archegonium, and the male sperm-like cells are called biflagellated anthrozoids. Biflagellated. So the sperm or anthrozoids contain flagellae. Okay, the anthrozoids contain flagellae, so that with the help of these flagellae, it can be easily moved through the medium. The medium is water. So, for the movement of these anthrozoids, water medium is compulsory. Okay, the medium of water is compulsory for the movement of anthrozoids. That's why we will call them as amphibians of plant kingdom. So for the sexual reproduction, water is required. Why? It means the anthrozoids, they are biflagellated, so it requires medium for their transport. The medium is water. Then female sex organs are called archegonium, and it is a flask shaped structure and it produces a single egg. Look the picture. This is the bryophyte, that is Markantia. This is a lower form, so that it is more prostrate. Okay, this is called Markantia. This is the live picture and this is the diagram. So this is the female thallus and this is the male thallus. Then if you look the female and male reproductive organ, this is the male gametophyte. Okay, so male gametophyte, inside the male gametophyte, antheridium is there, and inside the antheridium, anthrozoids are produced. These brown-like structures are called antheridium. Inside the antheridium, anthrozoids are produced. Then look the archegonium, that is female gametophyte. Archegonium, it is more or less a flask-like structure. Look, if you look very keenly, you can observe here, that is flask shaped structure is archegonium. Inside that flask there is a single egg. So male cells, that is the anthrozoids, that biflagellated anthrozoids, should want to come to the water and want to swing through the water and reaches this archegonium, and it went into the archegonium flask shaped structure and it fuses with the egg. This is normally happening. Then this is the structure of female and male thallus. If male thallus, there is rhizoid like structures to support the thallus in the substratum. And there is gemme. We will study what is gemme, and this is the anthrozoids producing antheridium, which is withstanded with a stalk called antheridiophore. And like that, there is archegoniophore and archegonium. So this is the structure of bryophyte, that is Markantia, and it is a liverwood. We will study what is liverwood. Then the anthrozoids are released to the water and meet the archegonium, and the anthrozoids fuse with the egg to form zygote. So anthrozoids are released to the water and meet the archegonium, and the anthrozoids which fuse with the egg to form zygote. Then what happened to the zygote? The zygote do not undergo meiosis immediately. So just after the fusion of anthrozoids with egg, the zygote may produce, and these zygote cannot immediately undergo meiosis. Instead of that, they produce a multicellular body called sporophyte. So the multicellular body which is produced from the zygote are called sporophyte. Look, this is the archegonium and it is a flask shaped structure. Inside that flask shaped structure there is a egg. Okay, and the biflagellated anthrozoids, that is sperm, which comes and get into the flask shaped structure, that is inside the archegonium, and it meet the egg. Then the fusion may take place. As a result, embryo may, as a result, zygote produce. Then zygote undergo meiotic division to produce embryo. And after several divisions, what happened means a structure called sporophyte is produced. Okay, multicellular body called sporophyte is produced, and some cells which is present inside the sporophyte undergo further meiosis to produce haploid spore. So what are the events happened? Sperms come and fuse with the egg to produce zygote, and the zygote do not undergo meiosis immediately. So they produce a multicellular body called sporophyte. So that sporophyte is not free living, but it is attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte, and it derives the nourishment from the gametophyte. Okay, so the sporophyte are not free living. That sporophyte is present in the gametophyte itself, and they derives the nutrient for their development from the gametophyte. After some time, some cells of the sporophyte may undergo meiosis. Some cells of the sporophyte may undergo meiosis to produce haploid spores. Here you can see this is sporophyte. Inside the sporophyte, the spores are produced. Okay. Once the spores are matured, the sporophyte bursts and the spores release. Once the sporophyte is mature, once the spores are matured, the sporophyte bursts and the spores release to the environment. Then, after some time, the spores, what happen means the spore may come and meet some suitable substratum like moist soil, damp soil, like that. Moist soil, damp or humid shade locality where it is meeting. In that place, it will come and contact. It forms rhizoids, that is root-like structure rhizoids for their attachment to the substratum, and the leaf-like structure called the gametophytic part. Then they form gametophyte. Again, the cycles may continuous. Okay, these gametophyte may produce female gametophyte and male gametophyte, and the male gametophyte produce antheridium, and inside the antheridium anthrozoids produce, and these sperms released, and those anthrozoids meet with the archegonium, and as a result of the fusion again sporophyte produced, then spore produced, and this life cycle may continuous. So this is happen in the sexual reproduction of bryophytes. So for the sexual reproduction, what is necessary means the water, the medium of water is necessary for the movement of anthrozoids. Then the importance of bryophytes. First one, the main important is it provides food for herbaceous mammals, birds, etc. Look the picture. You may familiar with these type of bryophytes which you can see on your moist wall, building wall. Okay. So these bryophytes may act as a food for herbaceous mammals, birds, etc. We will call these type of bryophytes as moss. Okay, then species of sphagnum. This is the sphagnum, and the species of sphagnum that is also called as a moss. It provides peat. Sphagnum peat. Okay, actually this peat is a biopesticide and we can use as a fuel also, and it has a water holding capacity. The sphagnum has a water holding capacity, so that we can use the sphagnum as a packaging material for transshipment of living materials. So first one is it provide food for herbaceous mammals, birds, etc. and it acts as a peat, so that we can use the peat for fuel, and it has the water holding capacity, so we can use as a package material for the transshipment of living material. Then the next importance is they are ecologically important. Okay, bryophytes are ecologically important. Why? Because they are the primary invaders on the barren area. They act as the primary invaders of the barren area. So mosses along with lichen, so it decomposes the rock. This is a rock. Here the mosses are grown in that rocky area, and along with the mosses lichens also grow. These mosses plus lichens, it decomposes and make the substrate suitable for the growth of higher plants. Once there is mosses and lichen, they together grow in the rock, and some chemicals which is secreted from these mosses and lichens, what happen means those chemicals may decompose the rock, and rock will become soil. So these soils make the plants, that is higher plants, for a suitable substract for the growth and development of those higher plants. So we can say that the bryophytes are ecologically important. Bryophytes are ecologically important, and that act as a major role in the plant succession on bare rocks or soil. Plant succession means the gradual formation of higher plants from the lower plants to higher plants and make that barren area into a forest. That is called plant succession. Then the next important is, since mosses form dense mat on the soil, they can prevent soil erosion. Okay, so this is the dense growth of mosses in the soil, so that it helps in the prevention of soil erosion. Okay, so these are the major things regarding bryophytes. So bryophytes are, we can call as amphibians of plant kingdom, and they are live in soil and they require water for their sexual reproduction. Then they occur in habitat like damp, humid and shaded localities. Then the body, it is differentiated, more differentiated than the algae, and it has a more or less root-like structure, leaf-like structure and stem-like structure, and the root-like structures are called rhizoids. Rhizoids can be unicellular or multicellular, which helps in the attachment of the plant body to the substratum. Then the main plant body is haploid in condition and it produces gamete, hence it is called gametophyte. Then the sex organs in the bryophytes are multicellular. The male sex organ are called antheridium. It produces biflagellated anthrozoids, and female sex organs are called archegonium and they are flower-shaped structure. It produces a single egg. Then the anthrozoids release to the water, and with the help of that biflagellated structure they can easily move through the water medium and reaches the archegonium, and the anthrozoids fuses with the egg to form zygote. And the zygote, it do not undergo meiosis immediately, so that other than meiosis they produces a multicellular plant body called sporophyte, and these sporophyte may burst once the spores mature and it releases a spores to the environment. These spores come and meet the suitable substratum where the new gametophytes are produced. Then the importance. Then come to the classification. Bryophytes can be classified into, or there are two types, that is liverwoods and moss. Actually bryophytes are three types. Okay, actually bryophytes are three types, that is first one is hornwoods, then liverwoods and moss. So hornwoods. Okay, so you need not to study these hornwoods now. Why? Because it is for the higher level classes. So three types, that is liverwoods, hornwoods and mosses, but you just familiar liverwoods and mosses. Then first one is liverwoods. So liverwoods is more or less similar to algae. Okay, so they are grow usually in moist shady habits such as banks, streams, marshy ground, damp soil, bark of the tree, then deep in the woods. So these are the major habitat of liverwoods, and the plant body we will call as thalloid, just like algae. Example is Markantia. Example for liverwood is Markantia. Then thallus, the plant body thallus is dorsiventral. The plant body thallus is dorsiventral and they closely oppressed to the substratum. So the thallus is dorsiventral in nature and it is completely attached to the substratum. Then the leafy members, okay, even though they are closely attached to the substratum, some members are leafy. Okay, some members have leafy like structure, but they are tiny leafy like appendages. Okay, the leafy members having only a tiny leaf like appendages. So these are the major points of liverwoods. Come to the reproduction part of liverwoods. Reproduction by asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is by fragmentation of thalli. That is the parent thalli divided into two separate thallis, and each thalli may give rise to individual thallus, that is by fragmentation. Then by the formation of gemmae. Look the picture. This is the thallus, that is green part is the thallus, that is the plant body. Here there is a cup shaped structure is formed, that is called gemmae cup. A cup shaped structure which is present on the thallus of the liverwort are called gemmae cup. Inside the gemmae cup, gemmaes are produced. So gemmae are green multicellular asexual buds that develop into small receptacles called gemmae cup on the thalli. So these gemmae are green like multicellular asexual buds. Buds have the ability to produce new organism. So what happened means the gemmae are detached from the parent body. Once the gemmae is matured, the gemmae are detached from the parent body and germinate to form new individuals. Okay, once the gemmae are mature, it is detached from the plant body and it is germinated to form new individuals. Then come to the sexual part. It is same like the normal sexual reproduction. Male and female sex organs are produced on same or different thallus, and sporophyte is differentiated into foot, setae and capsule. After meiosis, the spores are produced within the capsule. Then these spores germinated to form free living gametophyte. Look the picture. We already discussed how these events are happening. So these are about the liverwoods. Okay. So liverwoods, they are mainly grown in the most shady habitat such as bank of streams, bark of trees, then deep woods, damp soil, marshy land, etc. The plant body which we called as thalloid, example Markantia. Then the completely attached plant body is there and leafy like plant body also present. In asexual reproduction, it takes place by fragmentation and gemmae formation also takes place, and these gemmaes are green color multicellular asexual buds and that are developed in a cup like structure or small receptacles called gemmae cup, and which is formed on the thallus body. And once the gemmae are mature, these gemmae cup are detached from the parent body and germinated to form new individuals. Then sexual reproduction means male and female sex organ fuse to form zygote. Zygote give rise to embryo which produces sporophyte. Inside the sporophyte, spores are produced and these spores may releases and which comes into contact with suitable substratum which give rise to new individual plants. Then come to the next type, that is mosses. Okay. The mosses life cycle have two major stages. The more predominant stage of the life cycle is gametophyte, that is the sporophytic phase is very small comparatively gametophyte. If you compare the phase of gametophyte and sporophyte, the gametophytic phase is more than the sporophytic phase. Then there is two stages. First stage is protonema stage. Second stage is leafy stage. The first stage is protonema stage. Second stage is leafy stage. Then what is protonema stage? Protonema stage means it develops directly from the spore. Okay, protonema stage means it develops directly from the spore and it is creeping, green, branch and freely filamentous stage. So protonema stage means after the release of spore, from that spore creeping, green, branched, freely filamentous stage of mosses are produced or developed. That stage is called protonema stage. Then second stage is leafy stage. So it develops from the secondary protonema as a lateral bud. Okay, so the leafy stage is developed from the secondary protonema as a lateral bud and it consists of upright, slender axis which bears spirally arranged leaves. So they are attached to the soil through multicellular or branched rhizoids. And these leafy stage which bears sex organs. So The leafy stage is developed from secondary Protonema. It bears spirally arranged leaves and they are upright and slender. Those plant body is attached to the soil with the help of multicellular branched rhizoids, and this stage which bears sex organs. Reproduction in mosses. The reproduction are of two types, that is vegetative reproduction as well as sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation and budding. So vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation and budding, which is occur in the secondary Protonema. Okay, so the vegetative reproduction may takes place not in the primary Protonema, it takes in the secondary Protonema. Then fragmentation, you know that the main plant body is cut into two plant body which produces two individual thallus. Then budding. Budding means the small like asexual buds, that is gemme. Maybe gemme like structures produce or bud like structure also produce, which causes the formation of new individual thallus body. Then come to the sexual reproduction part. Sexual reproduction part means the Antheridia and Archegonia. Antheridia produce anthrozoids and Archegonia produce egg, and these egg and anthrozoids fuse to form zygote which develop to Sporophyte which having foot, setae and capsule. And the Sporophyte in the mosses is more elaborate than the Liverwoods. So comparatively, the Sporophyte of the moss are more elaborate. Okay, and the capsule which contain spores, and the spores are formed after meiosis. I will give you the picture. So this is the picture of Funaria, and it contains the capsule, and inside the capsule the spores are produced. Okay, so it contains what? Rhizoids, leaf-like structure, setae and capsule. Then the capsule which contain spores, and these spores are formed by the meiosis. Then the mosses have an elaborate mechanism of spores disposal. Okay, this capsule, the tip of the capsule may contain a cap-like structure, and that cap-like structure may open which releases the spores into the environment. That is a more complicated process, and which you will study in your higher classes like UG, PG like classes. Okay. So these are the sexual reproduction part. The Antheridia and Archegonia are produced and leafy and produced, and as a result the zygote forms and which give rise to Sporophyte, and these Sporophyte having a foot, setae and capsule. Then the Sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than the Liverwoods. The spores are produced inside the capsule, and the spores are formed after the meiosis, and these capsule burst to release the spores, and these spores may reaches the substratum to produce suitable new individual organisms. So these are the examples. So these are the example for Funaria, which where this is the most advanced form in the Bryophytes, and this is Polytrichum, and this is Sphagnum. Sphagnum we used for packaging material and as well as the page material. Then these are some examples and pictures. Okay, so these are about Bryophytes. So I hope you understand Bryophytes. Prepare notes, study well. Then I will put the recap question in the Nitra app. You have to answer the question. And tomorrow we will see with the new plant group under the plant kingdom, that is Pteridophytes.